Hello, I'm Fabien Sanlani. I'm the CTO of Sogeti in France. As we celebrate the International Women's Day, we will be discussing today gender diversity within a very popular and growing industry, which is the industry of eSport. To explore this topic, we will have two guests today from an eSport team, a professional French eSport team called Oplon. Oplon is a professional eSport team with which Sogeti has been working for the past 3 years. We've been sponsoring them for sure, but also they are bringing us a lot of values which are coming from any kind of sports team, which is how do we play together as a team to win. And this sponsorship, this relationship is bringing value, I believe, to Oplon, but also to Sogeti. So firstly, I would like to welcome Baptiste Vasse, who is the CEO and co-founder of Oplon eSport and Consulting. I am very glad to welcome Claire Topin, aka Noksha, who is the new Super Smash Bros. Player within the Oplon team. Welcome, Noksha.
Hello, and thank you.
Before we start, let me remind you a bit of what eSport is all about. eSport is not just playing video games. eSport is a proper sport like any other physical sport that we know about and we've been looking at for years, and it is evolving a lot. Baptiste and Claire will explain to us a bit more what are the roles and how a team is set up within a professional esports team. But indeed, it is professional. It is professional sports within the gaming industry globally. The rise of this industry is tremendous. Platforms such as Twitch has been giving access to live games for everyone around the world, and we can look at our favorite players and favorite games at any time from anywhere across countries. This industry is growing so fast, and this is such a real sport, I would say, that it might become an Olympic game pretty soon. And I believe in 2022, it will be set as part of the Olympic Games in Paris for the first time. And I'm pretty sure this will lay out a good way for eSport to grow even better. So Baptiste, a question to you first. When people think of eSport, they mainly think of the players playing the games, but there are many more roles that make up an esports team. Could you explain to us how you've set up your company as far as the different roles within the team are concerned?
I'm going to try to explain because we have some specificities. To start, one of our particularity, not only Oplon, but also other esports teams, compared to a traditional sports team, is that we have different games and teams represent into one structure. So we need to have the staff in consequences. To take the example of Oplon, we have one head of esports, so he's a director of all our teams in our gaming section and a member of our board. Some teams have coach, analyst, mental coach, and in our administrative section, we have community manager, graphist. So it's not just the players, but the whole things that make us successful, like a classic company, I think.
So everyone is working together in the background, but also in the foreground. Are there any specific roles who are helping a team like the one in League of Legends, which is very successful at the moment, to get prepared and to get ready to play and win a game?
Yes, I think mental coach is a very important role in our teams because they help the players to be prepared to the D-Day, and I think it's very important for the professionalization of our teams.
Okay, indeed, like in any sport, if you are not mentally prepared to win, you usually don't. For sure.
Of course.
So another question to you, Baptiste. Why do you think diversity will help esports and will help the Oplon team to get to another higher level from where you are at the moment?
Diversity is a great richness. For example, in Oplon, we have regularly had women in the staff of our teams. The players are sometimes more attentive. So after recruiting some staff, women, we are now trying to move forward into women players with Noksha. And if I adopt my CEO regard, the more players there are, the more likely we are to find the future talents. So it's very interesting for us because we can go forward with a lot of players and a lot of talents. But the essence of esports is its competitiveness aspect. So diversity can also bring more competition, more competitiveness, and more representativeness. So I think to conclude on this question, for me, diversity is only a positive aspect and a beautiful objective for the esports industries.
Yeah, thank you, Baptiste. And I'm very glad to welcome you, Claire, as the newest player within the Oplon team on Smash Bros, I believe.
Yes.
Could you explain, Claire, why did you get and why did you want to get involved in eSport and why did you want to become a professional player?
Well, first of all, I was very passionate about the game since 2017 and before, and I looked at some competitive sets on YouTube and found it absolutely beautiful, and I really wanted to reach the same level as these top players. So I searched for events around my city if there were any tournaments and found some in Paris. I didn't know anything about the communities throughout social medias or anything, so I just went there out of curiosity and got welcomed by an extremely warm and nice community and an extremely nice tournament organizer who really helped me to integrate the community as much as I can. And I liked this event so much that I just continued going to tournaments, and I'm pretty competitive naturally, so I wanted to keep up training and becoming the best as possible.
Well, again, I'm very happy to welcome you, Claire, also within the partnership between Oplon and Sogeti. I'm very happy that we now have a very good Smash Bros player, a female Smash Bros player. It is also very important to you, but to us as a partner. Then another question for you, Claire. How do you see your career progressing beyond the player you are at the moment? I mean, you will, I hope, and I wish you become a strong scene player on Smash Bros. So, what would be your objectives as a player? And after that, when you will not be a player anymore, do you see still a career within the esports industry? And how do you see it?
It is a bit difficult to say how my career will be progressing since I'm still studying, but I will definitely try to keep a good relationship with Oplon and keep playing and keep training because I just love the game and I like to see my improvement. And I would really like to reach a top level for sure. And I can't really see myself playing full-time Smash Bros because I'm a bit scared that I will get fed up of the game maybe. So I will try to maybe find a job and work as a pro player as well. However, what I would really like to do in the span of 2 or 3 years is to I know that I will probably become a representative of female competitive competition in the Smash scene at least, which would be a nice thing. But what I would really like to become is to become a figure of normality in the community. Because consciously or not, these days people are trying to put me in a box of the female player only, and this is by saying, for example, she's one of the best female players in France, and to that I respond that, in my opinion, this doesn't make sense, because esports is diversity itself compared to other sports. Because even if you're male or female, young or old, or that your legs don't work, you can still play video games, and you start at the same starting line as everyone else. And this is the power of esports. And this is so esports is the pinnacle of diversity, in my opinion. And by trying to put me back in these boxes, in this box of the female player, people are actually trying to divide the community more. And so my role, I would like that my role is to become a figure of not being a figure of normality, of being like anyone else.
Well, thank you very much. That's very nice. It's true that a lot of industries still have to progress, and we are happy to see that the esports industry is progressing as well. And there is still a gap between today's reality and tomorrow's normality, as you explained, which is being filled at the moment, mainly by using communities. So we've been talking about the eSport communities, and indeed that gap is still present. Are there, do you think, communities who are helping to rub out these differences by helping female eSport players today to become just eSport players?
So yes, there are associations in other communities that help women integrate the competitive scene. For example, Women in Games. But there are also some other associations, smaller ones. For example, in the Smash community, like the French Discord server for female players, who help female players to get into competitive play by organizing tournaments for female-only players, for example. And I think there are nice initiatives to integrate female players more easily. However, I think that the Smash community is also very welcoming towards anyone. So anyone, female or male or old or young, can join very easily without being scared of joining it.
Okay, thank you, Claire. It's very clear. As you mentioned, there are communities within the communities, but as you mentioned as well, I think it's a very good opportunities. The eSport industry is a very good playground for full diversity, for a lot of reasons that you've already mentioned, but also for one more reason, which is the use of nicknames, which doesn't always show who you are, where you come from, or what gender you are. So it is very nice to see Oplon progressing again, to see the industry progressing towards diversity. This inclusion is very, very important to us in Sogeti. And I'm very glad to see you coming in, Claire, Noksha. And you can count on Sogeti and myself personally to be on all the social networks and to claim high and loud how much you are successful within this community.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
We'll be there and I'll be there. Maybe, Baptiste, a closing thought to you. If we were to look forward 2-3 years from now, how do you see gender diversity within Oplon? And how do you see the eSport industry progressing? Do you think it will be progressing quicker than other industries? Or do you see it being a flagship of diversity? What are your thoughts on that?
I see two angles to these questions, and I like to split maybe into two answers. The first aspect is about gaming in general. So France eSports, which is an association, have published a survey in November 2020, and we can see that we have 53% of players who are women. So it's a good it's good to see that. But the second aspect, and the one where there is still a lot to do, is the competitive side, because the same survey show that we have only 6% of competitors who are women. So we can see the difference, and it's huge. So for me, and this is already sometimes the case, but in 2-3 years, I think we will add a lot of women in staff teams, like I said before, and also as a player in eSport competition, because in my point of view, it was very complicated for women to jump into this aspect of gaming due to some fears, like Noksha said. But mentality is changing, and it's a good way for esports and for our future.
Thank you very much, Baptiste. That's clear.
You're
That's
welcome.
very clear. If, like me, you are striving to follow how the Oplon teams are succeeding in their different scenes and how much Noksha will progress and win competition within the Smash Bros competitive scene, you can follow the team and the players on Twitter with the Sogeti X Oplon hashtag. I'd like now to thank you both for joining in and answering my questions. So thank you, Baptiste. I hope to see you soon. And Claire, Noksha, I will follow you very closely, and I hope you all the best in the professional team.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.